Welcome back to the What We're Watching podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Jenny, and today we're talking about Easy A.
A highly requested episode that I was so happy to rewatch.
Oh my gosh, me too. I forgot how much I loved this movie when I was younger.
Me too. And I still love it. I really love it.
I didn't even think that I would remember the plot or like the jokes. Oh, I remembered them. Like the branch in her eye.
Oh, yeah.
That had me. I think this was a movie people quoted in high school consistently.
Definitely. I think so, yeah.
So fun. Well, in this episode, we're talking all about Emma Stone's claim to fame and her real name, details and cameos that you didn't notice before, and why this movie made Amanda Bynes quit acting.
I will say that's something I didn't remember, is that Amanda Bynes was in this movie. Whoa.
I do always forget that. And she was great in it.
Funny character for her. Okay, so the logline for this movie is, prompted by her popular best friend to spill details of her boring weekend, Olive Pendergast, a clean-cut teen, decides to spice things up by telling a little lie about losing her virginity when the high school busybody overhears the conversation and spreads it all over campus. And then Olive is suddenly notorious, but for the wrong reasons. Also, not only is Amanda Bynes in this movie, but Allie of Allie and AJ is in this movie.
I know. I love Ali Mashaka so much.
Yeah, I was very happy to see. I love all three of them, and I love Emma Stone. Like, love, love, love. She was probably my favorite actress in high school. I just love her. I think she's so funny, and I wish she was in more stuff now. So it was so nice to see her again.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen her in this kind of like comedy role in a while, but this was her thing in the 2010s.
I miss it.
Also, I have to tell you about Ali Mashaka. She has been like my hair inspiration for 10 years. So when I go to get my hair cut, usually I'll look at pictures of her hair first and bring it in. Because she's a curly girl.
She's a curly girl. I get it. Her hair is gorgeous.
It is.
And so is yours, by the way. So it's working.
Ah, so sweet. What a good friend.
I love when you wear your hair curly. It's so cute.
And that's like my least favorite way to wear it. I have a fun little fact before we dive in. In the movie, Olive mentions that her first name is an anagram for I love. Do you remember that?
Oh, do I?
But Pendergast is actually an anagram for pretend shag, which is the whole movie's plot.
That's very clever. That's very clever. I like it. That is something they told us. I think they told us this in one of our screenwriting classes. Maybe it was in one of my acting classes. I don't know. But they always say, look up the names of the characters because they always have a meaning. Like whoever's writing them is infusing meaning into the names always. So that's very clever. I like it.
Interesting. That's nice to know because when I'm writing a script, I just like pick an arbitrary name because I don't know.
Me too. I'm like, this is cute. Okay, tell me about the movie.
This movie came out in 2010, and it was directed by Will Gluck, who also did Friends with Benefits, the 2014 Annie with Jamie Foxx, Peter Rabbit, and, most recently, Anyone But You with Sydney Sweeney. It was written by Bert V. Royal, who claims to have written the entire screenplay, except for the last 10 pages, in 5 days.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's wild.
That's wild. I'm like processing because I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. And it's great. I mean, I'm sure it went through multiple rounds of revisions after that, but wow, that's really impressive.
His plan was actually to have 3 movies based on 3 different classics set at the same high school so that characters would appear in multiple films, which I think would have been so cool.
I love that concept.
And with the success of Easy A, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't run with that idea and do 2 more movies. But then he said what the other 2 classics were, and now I understand. He also wanted to adapt Cyrano de Bergerac. Have you heard of that classic? Because I haven't.
No, not a classic to me. No offense.
And The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Also no idea.
Same. So I feel like maybe if he had chosen like, I don't know, The Crucible or something else that like it could still be a little niche, like you've only read it in high school or something. But to pick these two classics that are things I've never heard of and most people in your audience have never heard of. Makes sense why they weren't made, I think.
Yeah, tougher sell. Much tougher sell.
Something cool about the movie is that it was all filmed in Ojai, California, which is where the movie takes place, and nothing was a set.
Wow.
Even the houses were real people's houses in Ojai.
Cool. That's really cool.
I feel like that's what's missing from modern rom-coms is things feel too produced and fake.
Mm-hmm.
But something felt really real about Easy A.
Definitely. And I think us watching it in high school as high schoolers that like lived at home with our parents, there was just something like very relatable about watching Olive and her parents. And I love her parents in this movie. We'll get into that. But yeah, I don't know. It felt really realistic and authentic. I loved it.
Totally agree.
Also, I feel like this is what people, we talk about this a lot, but I feel like this is what people love so much about the Nora Ephron movies and the Nancy Meyers movies. Because I'm pretty sure those are also filmed in actual buildings, I think. And it makes sense. It just has such a homier feel because you're not like cutting from the exterior of a high rise and then going into this apartment that's like so wide open, you know, like you can tell it's an open set. And so there, yeah, I agree. There's just something cozy about it.
Definitely. Also, I could have sworn this movie was rated R, but I guess it's only PG-13. Which, upon watching it, makes sense. But it had just been so long since I had seen it.
Yeah.
It was apparently a lot raunchier before editing, though. They took like a bunch of different takes. And so there was one that had like 47 F-bombs in it. And that would have definitely made it rated R. But the PG-13 rating probably helped it become so popular and take off because more people could see it. And I think that just makes sense because I think the people who love this movie the most are the people who are our age.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't have been able to see it by ourselves if it was rated R. So,
yeah, definitely. This sort of falls into the same category for me as like Juno.
mm-hmm.
As a Juno lover, do you see that?
I see that, yeah.
Like there's like quirky humor and it's really funny and it's very endearing and comforting. And it holds up after a long period of time. But also it's not super raunchy, even though it is about like a teenager's sex life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah.
Mm.
Also, can we just talk about the millennial business casual wardrobe that everyone wore at school?
It's so true. I actually forgot about that. Watching it threw me back directly into high school fashion. Like
I had some of those outfits.
Oh, same. The like cami with like a half button up shirt with like some chinos and ballet flats at school. Yes.
It's like the scarves and they
The
look
scarves,
so fancy.
The scarves, the chunky jewelry. Yes. Just for show. The skinny jeans.
The skinny jeans galore in this movie.
The belts.
I hope we don't go back there.
No.
But we thought it was cute at the time.
No. To any... God, I'm about to sound so old. What I was about to say is for any of the Gen Zs listening, and like if you think that you want the, you know, early mid-2000s fashion back, watch this movie and then tell me if you agree. But that makes me feel like such a boomer.
You don't want 2010s fashion.
No, you don't want 2010s. No. At least not yet. I guess like maybe that will become appealing in another 10 years. I have trouble imagining that. But I also would have told you that I couldn't imagine the 2000s fashion coming back. And I think it's cute now. So there will be a spin on it that will make it cuter, I'm sure.
Do you know what I would actually be thrilled if it came back?
What?
Is like the 2010s Tumblr girl tights with Doc Martens or something like that in like those little skater skirts.
Like the mainstream grunge girl.
Yes. I'd be down for that coming back, honestly.
Yeah, the tights and the Doc Martens. Yes. Agreed. Agreed.
And the flannels. They had flannel like wrapped around their waist.
Yes, the flannel and the beanie. I could do without the side bangs because I was big into the side bangs and I could
I
skip
could
that.
imagine you with side bangs. That's cute.
Big side bangs girl. It's
I
not my
loved
best.
side bangs.
I had a side bangs and then I had like a purple streak in the very back of my hair, like behind my ear.
Cute.
Yeah.
I had ombre hair.
Wow.
I thought I was such a hipster for that.
That is very cool.
Mm.
Oh. Anyway. Shall we talk about the cast?
Let's do it.
Let's start with Emma Stone, who of course plays Olive Pendergast.
I realized that we've mentioned her in episodes so many times, but we've actually never covered something that she's in, I don't think.
No, I think you're right.
Crazy. She's from La La Land, Poor Things, The Help, Cruella, Maniac, Crazy Stupid Love, Zombieland, The House Bunny, Superbad, and many more things. You all know Emma Stone.
Okay, my top 2 of that list that I would love to cover would be Crazy Stupid Love and The House Bunny.
Okay, yeah, I'm in. I've never seen Crazy Stupid Love, actually.
Oh, it's so cute. It's one of those intertwiney movies that has like, what are the other ones?
Like Love Actually.
Yes, exactly.
Is Steve Carell in it?
Steve Carell is in it. Ryan Gosling is in it. It's so good.
Okay, that would be fun to watch. Now, we've also talked about this before, but never in depth. Emma Stone's real name is Emily Jean Stone, and she had to register under the name Emma with the Screen Actors Guild because someone else had the name Emily Stone. There was a time where I remember this being all over the place, like people were showing interviews of her being mad when they called her Emma and her correcting them and saying it was Emily. So I was looking for interviews of this because I was like, how does she actually feel about being called Emma? I guess there was a time when she freaked out and she said she felt like she couldn't do it anymore, being called Emma, but now she's okay with it again. And she says that anyone can call her anything. But her name is Emily. She calls herself Emily, so.
Yeah, I've definitely seen interviews where cast members or like that are people that are friends of hers refer to her as Emily, and the interviewer is always asks them about it, and they're always just like, no, we just call her Emily because that's her name.
Yeah.
Which is different than like an Ashton Kutcher or a Kristen Bell who went by a name growing up at home, like in their hometown. Like Kristen Bell, I believe, grew up as Annie, and Ashton Kutcher grew up as Chris.
Crazy.
And then when they went to Hollywood, they started going by something else, whereas Emma Stone just is Emily, and then like had to put a different name down just for the sake of like the whole SAG sort of fine print.
I don't think she would feel so weird about it if it wasn't so close to her name. If it felt like more of a stage name, maybe.
Sure.
Like Kristen being Annie. Okay, like she has a different persona when she's not Annie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or she doesn't even go by it anymore. But yeah, for the Emily Emma thing, I don't know. She also said when she was a kid, she wanted to be called Emma. So she doesn't hate the name.
I guess there's also a difference between like when you change your name because you want to have a stage name, like I'm assuming somebody like Kristen or Ashton did, because I've like heard in interviews that their parents still call them the name that they grew up by, but nobody else does. Everybody, like their partners and stuff, refer to them as Kristen and Ashton.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me think that it was maybe their choice as opposed to somebody like Emma Stone who wishes they could have gone by Emily but couldn't because of a technicality, you know?
Yeah.
But I love that her name is Emily Jean. My daughter's middle name is Jean. Cute.
So Emma's been acting since she was 11, and she was in a bunch of plays at the time. And her first movie was Superbad in 2007.
Cool.
This is kind of interesting. She was offered the role of Amber in the movie Sucker Punch, but she turned it down for Easy A, which I feel like ended up being her best career decision.
Definitely.
Because Easy A took off. She was nominated for a Golden Globe for it. She's also the youngest person to be in the SNL 5-Timers Club, meaning she's hosted SNL 5 times.
Which means she has a robe. She has the SNL 5-Timers robe.
Yes.
Oh, that's so fun. I feel like I've probably seen her in those skits because those are like some of my favorite skits that they do.
Mm-hmm. With Steve Martin and Martin Short and all of them. Yeah.
Paul Rudd. Tina Fey is always there. Yeah. That's so fun.
This is off topic, but did you know that she is not a redhead?
No.
She's a natural blonde.
Wow. I just only picture her with red hair.
Me too. But this is a fact that I have always known. And if you're a redhead and you're listening, I think you probably agree with me. But like, redheads clock other redheads.
Jenny is a redhead. For everybody listening who can't see us.
I'm like vaguely redheaded though. Like
you
it
are.
looks kind of more brown, I feel like.
No.
Okay. She vetoes that.
Sorry.
Well, you know how people are like strawberry blonde?
Uh-huh.
I always say that I'm strawberry brown, but not auburn, but just like hints of red.
Okay.
And one of my best friends said I have hair the color of the macaroni and cheese crayon. So if that gives you a visual.
I always think of you as a redhead. Like, I wouldn't describe you as somebody with brown hair.
Okay, interesting.
I see what you mean. It's definitely darker. Like, I know redheads with much brighter hair. We have a friend named Abby that does have like brighter red hair.
Shout out Abby.
Shout out Abby. I know you're listening. But I definitely think, anyway, it doesn't matter what I think because it's your hair. Sorry.
Regardless, if there's a redhead on TV, I know about them. And I also then will like look them up and get to know their personal lives and then find out that they are not redheads a lot of the time. A lot of the time, they're natural blondes. So anyway, Emma is one of these cases. And she looks great either way. She can have her hair any color.
Definitely.
With how famous she is, there's actually not much about her personal life online. And she has no social media.
Wow. She's one of the last.
I know.
Like Jennifer Lawrence.
They have similar vibes to me.
Definitely. Agreed.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because Jennifer Lawrence auditioned for Olive in Easy A, and she wanted the part really, really bad.
I could see that. I could totally see that.
She'd be great in a role like that. She'd be well, kind of No Hard Feelings is that, but the grown-up version.
True. That's so true.
So she got her wish.
Yeah.
Emma famously dated Andrew Garfield from 2011 to 2015. And now she's married to a comedian / writer / director named Dave McCary. And they've been married since 2020 and they have a daughter. And Dave used to be a writer for SNL, which I wonder if that's how she's part of the Five Timers Club.
Maybe. Or maybe that's just how she met him.
Maybe.
Because she was there a bunch. And I wonder if she lived in New York, maybe.
Probably.
I bet she does. I know that she also is a character in the Taylor Swift Joe Alwyn universe because she has done a lot of like acting projects with Joe. And I know she's good friends with Taylor, so interesting.
Wild.
Okay, should we talk about Amanda Bynes, the Amanda Bynes who plays Marianne in this movie?
Yes. You know Amanda Bynes from All That, The Amanda Show, What I Like About You, Big Fat Liar, What a Girl Wants, She's the Man, Sydney White, Hairspray. I feel like I covered all the main ones.
Sydney White, I always forget about that one. That's such a fun movie.
I actually almost forgot to mention it, and then I put it in last minute. We do have episodes on What a Girl Wants and She's the Man, where we talk more about Amanda Bynes. In our What a Girl Wants episode specifically, we talk about her personal life a lot more and what she's up to now. So if you're interested in that, go check out the What a Girl Wants episode. But I'll tell you the TLDR version here. She had challenges with substance abuse and mental health, and she was in a conservatorship like Britney Spears was for almost 9 years, from 2013 to 2022. Before Easy A, she was supposed to star in the movie Postgrad, but was replaced with Alexis Bledel because she was having difficulties. And then Easy A was her last movie.
I didn't realize this was her last movie. Wow. She
started filming another movie called Hall Pass afterwards, but then she had to drop out of the film and she was replaced with Alexandra Daddario.
Alexis Bledel and Alexandra Daddario have like the exact same look. So that's so interesting. I know that's just a coincidence, but wild. Like the dark hair with the like piercing ice blue eyes, both of them.
And Amanda Bynes too, when you think about it. Her hair is just a little bit lighter.
True. Yeah, true.
So they had a look they were going for in those movies, I guess. In July 2010, she announced a hiatus from acting, and she was only 24 at the time.
Wow. Ugh, she has such a sad story.
I know. It breaks my heart, and I really hope for her sake that she is able to have a comeback, even if it's not public.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like the Lindsay Lohan thing that's happened and the transformation she's had, I really hope that Amanda gets that.
Agreed. Even if, like you said, it's totally private. Like, I love that she's, pursuing her manicurist career. I think that's super cool and artistic of her. And we talked in a previous episode about her short-lived podcast. So if that's something that she's interested in, I hope that comes back and takes off.
She has a fashion degree.
Yeah, she definitely has like so much creativity that she can put to use, and she's so talented. So
yeah, recently she said that she was writing a screenplay.
Cool.
So we'll see what happens with that. I get the sense that she kind of dabbles in a lot of different things, but maybe doesn't like follow through with them, which is relatable.
I was about to say, I relate to that.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes of it. Here's more about how she felt about Easy A. In 2018, she said, "I literally couldn't stand my appearance in that movie, and I didn't like my performance. I was absolutely convinced I needed to stop acting after seeing it. I was high on marijuana when I saw that, but for some reason it really started to affect me. I don't know if it was a drug-induced psychosis or what, but it affected my brain in a different way than it affects other people. It absolutely changed my perception of things."
Wow. That is devastating because she's so good in this movie.
And gorgeous, stunning, wonderful. Like,
yes, perfect.
I just hate that she didn't see herself the way that everybody else saw her.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I really saw about her besides the screenwriting thing is that in December, she was in an art show. Like her piece was in an art show, and it was all over social media, and she was meeting with fans and stuff.
Cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about Penn Badgley, who plays Woodchuck Todd.
Woodchuck Todd. Love it.
I love him in this movie.
I do too.
And by that, I really just mean I love his character, Todd.
Yes. He's from Gossip Girl, You and John Tucker Must Die.
Is he John Tucker? No.
We talked about that movie.
Did we?
He's yeah, we've covered that.
No, we didn't. Did we?
We did John Tucker Must Die, yeah. We've done so many movies now.
God, my memory is non-existent. Ooh.
No, we're almost at 100 movies, so like how could we possibly keep track?
Oh, God, I haven't slept in 6 months. Wow, this is so exciting.
True.
I mean, I need to go listen to it, I guess. Is he John Tucker? No, he's not, though.
No.
Okay.
I'm dead. No, he's he's like John Tucker's brother who's kind of nerdier.
Yes, the brother. The nicer brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I won't spoil John Tucker for anyone who is really late to the game.
I thought you were going to say for you, like for me.
Well, you don't remember it, so
No, I don't know.
I should maybe keep it spoiler free for you.
Okay.
So we do talk about him a little bit in that episode, but here's an Easy A fun fact. He only filmed Easy A for about 8 days.
Whoa. I mean, I guess he doesn't have a big part, but so did they format the filming schedule for him to be able to do that? They must have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was flying back and forth at the time for Gossip Girl.
Mm.
And he said, "It was a blast for me. It was a nice departure from what I've normally done. It was offbeat, a little strange, especially with the mascot stuff."
True. Yeah, true. Okay, now we have to talk about Ali Michalka, who plays Rhiannon.
Like I said, I love her, and I need to do a deep dive on her and AJ.
Agreed.
I would just love to spend more time researching her.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them, honestly. And we should go to a concert. They're still touring.
Yes, I would love to. I love every time I see clips of them performing together because it just gives me such a throwback, and they look so cute together, and the fact that they're still close and perform just makes me happy.
Yes. So for those who need a refresher, Allie and AJ are the girl group, the girl sister duo. They are sisters in real life. They were like Disney Channel stars. You've heard their songs, like Potential Breakup Song. And Allie and AJ were recently on an episode of Call Her Daddy, which I haven't listened to yet, but I need to. It's on my list.
Yeah, I want to listen.
And they talk about touring with the Jonas Brothers and a bunch of other stuff in that episode. And Allie herself has done a lot of acting. She did Phil of the Future, Now You See It, which is a DCOM, I think, Cowbells, Hellcats, and iZombie.
Okay, now we have to talk about the breakout star in my eyes in this movie. And that is Stanley Tucci, who plays Dill Pendergast, Olive's dad.
Obsessed with Stanley Tucci.
Obsessed. I don't know if I've ever loved a character more. I love him in this. like I could not explain how much he was like jumping out of the TV for me. Ugh.
Isn't he your favorite in The Devil Wears Prada too?
Yeah, I just love him.
He's also one of my favorites in The Hunger Games as Caesar Flickerman.
He is the greatest.
He is not my favorite in The Lovely Bones. Haven't seen it.
No. Bad.
But I know he's the scary guy, so no.
Bad, bad, bad.
And he's also in a million other things, guys. You know him. He started his career in theater and was on Broadway. I thought this was really cute. He and Patricia Clarkson, who plays his wife and Olive's mom in the movie, were friends off screen. They actually had the same agent at the time. I don't know if they still do. And they both separately went for the movie. And then when he heard that she was offered the role of the mom, I guess he was like given the script afterwards, and he read the script, called her and said, "Read this right away. We have to do this movie."
Aww.
And he said this about the script: "It was so funny and so smart, and I had never read anything like it. Not that I hadn't done a teen movie or something, but it was just so smart."
Agreed.
Me too, Stanley Tucci.
Also, we talk a lot about his relationship with his wife, who is Emily Blunt's sister in real life. I think we talk a lot about that in the Devil Wears Prada episode, so if you're interested in his personal life, definitely go check that out. Okay, so we need to just have a special mention to a few of the actors that are in this movie that are big names that we love. We love their performances, starting with Patricia Clarkson, who you were just talking about, who plays Olive's mom, Rosemary Pendergast. I just realized Olive's parents' names are Rosemary and Dill.
And her brother's name is Chip.
Wow. Cute.
I guess in the script, I didn't get a chance to read the script, but I really want to, because the screenplay is everywhere online.
Oh,
I think
cool.
people use it a lot as like a teaching tool. But I guess in the script, she had an older brother named Kale. So all of them are food names.
I didn't catch that at all watching it. That's so funny.
No, me neither. Patricia Clarkson is from Friends with Benefits, The Maze Runner, Sharp Objects, House of Cards, and a bunch of other things.
You guys will recognize her even if you don't know her name. So if you want a refresher, just Google Patricia Clarkson.
And she and Stanley Tucci truly are the stars of this movie, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. And then we also have the lovely Lisa Kudrow, who plays Mrs. Griffith.
She's from Friends, Booksmart, Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, and a bunch of other things. And we do have episodes where we talk about her. It's in our Friends and Booksmart episodes.
And then last but not least, we have Dan Bird, who plays Brandon.
I just had to call him out because he's Hilary Duff's best friend in A Cinderella Story, the one dressed as Zorro.
Yes,
Can you picture it?
Yes. I didn't put that together when I was watching him, but I knew that I knew him, and that's what it's from. Oh, yeah. He does this role well.
I think so.
The like emotionally intelligent sort of guy best friend to the high school girl. I don't know if emotionally intelligent is right, but like the kind of nerdy guy that doesn't have a lot of other guy friends and is a good friend to like the girl lead in both of those movies.
Yeah. And for those who haven't seen Easy A in a while, he is the one who initially asks Olive for her fake sex services.
Mm-hmm. They're the ones that jump on the bed together at the party.
Yeah. There are also some other fun cameos throughout the script, so I'll call them out when they come up.
It's time.
Should we get into the movie?
Let's do it. So the movie opens on a high school in Ojai, a small city in California, and we hear Olive's voiceover say, "The rumors of my promiscuity have been greatly exaggerated. I used to be anonymous, invisible to the opposite sex." She says that changed when she started lying about some very personal things. So she swears now to tell the truth on the internet. And then we see present-day Olive, again, that's Emma Stone, speaking into her webcam. And then we cut to a girl bumping into her at school and Olive dropping all of her things.
We meet Olive's best friend, Rhiannon, played by Ali Mashaka, and meet Olive's favorite teacher, Mr. Griffith, played by Thomas Hayden Church. Olive's voiceover tells us that she doesn't think she's still his favorite student after all the trouble that she's caused. Rhiannon wants Olive to go camping with her hippie family, and Olive does not want to do this, so she lies and says that she can't because she's going on a date with a college boy named George that weekend.
And what she actually does that weekend is stay home listening to Natasha Bedingfield's Pocket Full of Sunshine, which is the song playing from a musical greeting card that her grandmother sent her.
Iconic.
Iconic.
I feel like this is the scene that you remember in the movie.
Mm-hmm. She's like opening and closing the card over and over again.
I got it.
And then she makes it her ringtone for the rest of the movie.
She starts off being like, this is the most annoying song. And then she starts like singing it in the shower and doing like the Ferris Bueller mohawk in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
So good.
And I just want to say that if this episode has given you even one pocket full of sunshine so far, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review.
Incredible. I didn't see it coming.
Snuck it in there.
I forgot that it would be coming.
The next Monday at school, Rhiannon presses her and thinks she lost her virginity to George, the college boy. Olive says, I'm not that kind of girl. I feel like that always comes up in these movies. I feel like someone's always saying, I'm not that kind of girl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, that's a Juno. That's in Juno.
That is in Juno.
Wow, maybe this movie is more like it than I realized. Although it's more like, I don't know what kind of girl I am, is what Juno says. But
yeah, different
anyway.
context.
So again, Olive says, I'm not that kind of girl. And Rhiannon pulls her into the bathroom and says, the kind that does it, or the kind that does it and doesn't have the balls to tell her friend. She pushes enough that Olive lies that she did lose her virginity, and then feels superior because for once she's done something that Rhiannon hasn't. And so then she just keeps piling on the lies.
And then a student named Mary Ann Bryant, played by Amanda Bynes, comes out of a bathroom stall. So she's been overhearing everything that they were saying. And when Rhiannon asks her what she's looking at, she says, just a couple of admitted whores. And we find out that Mary Ann is very involved in school and is very Christian.
Olive's lie spreads fast around school because of Mary Ann. Olive tries to tell Mary Ann that it was all made up. But Mary Ann says, listen, I'm not the one that you have to answer to for your depraved behavior. There's a higher power that will judge you for your indecency. And Olive says, Tom Cruise? That is like my favorite quote from the movie. Mary Ann says, I hope for your sake that God has a sense of humor.
I think Olive says, oh, I have 18 years of anecdotal proof he does.
Yeah.
I just love all of her comebacks in this movie. They're incredible. She's quick.
Me too. She's very quippy.
Mm-hmm. She gets it from her parents. Speaking of, at home, Olive's parents, Dylan and Rosemary, again, that's Stanley Tucci and Patricia Clarkson, cook dinner for her and her little brother, Chip, played by Bryce Clyde Jenkins. And this is important to the story. The Pendergasts are white, and Chip, her little brother, is black. He's adopted. During dinner, Olive asks if her parents would testify to the fact that she was there all weekend, and her dad says that he would slit his throat rather than tell someone something she doesn't want him to. This is his kind of banter throughout the movie. He's like very dramatic and funny. And then Chip, her brother, kind of offhandedly says he'll never go through puberty, and his parents try to comfort him by telling him that their family is a bunch of late bloomers. And Chip says, why does that matter? I'm adopted. And his dad freaks out and says, what? Oh my God, who told you?
I don't know if that one was in the trailer or what, but I remember that being a favorite at my high school.
For sure.
Now at school, Olive is no longer invisible. Everyone is paying attention to her, and she kind of likes it. In Mr. Griffith's class, they're ironically studying The Scarlet Letter, where the main character, Hester Prynne, committed adultery and had to wear a red A on her chest. Mary Ann's snotty Christian friend tells Olive that she should embroider a red A on her wardrobe and calls her an abominable tramp. Olive then calls her an abominable twat back and gets sent to the principal's office.
Olive runs into Todd, played by Penn Badgley, who is the school woodchuck mascot, and her longtime crush, and they have this good banter. We can tell they've probably been friends for a long time, even if they're not super close now. And then the next day, she has detention with her classmate Brandon. That's Dan Bird. He's the one from A Cinderella Story. We find out that Brandon was bullied for being gay and is the only one who got in trouble for the fight. And so they bond while they're cleaning up for their detention. And she comes clean to him and tells him that she made up the whole college boy thing and that she never actually had sex with him.
The next day, Brandon comes over to Olive's house and asks her to pretend to have sex with him to maintain her floozy facade and to make people think that he's straight so he doesn't get bullied anymore. She feels bad for him and wants to help him, so she agrees. They plan to fake it at a party tomorrow night.
They show up at the party together pretending to be really drunk, and they cause a scene and then go into a bedroom together to make sure that everyone notices. And then everyone at the party gathers outside the door to hear what's going on in there while they fake moaning and jumping on the bed. You guys will remember this is iconic scene. They're banging on the wall, just looking at each other jumping on the bed, and everyone buys it.
This was actually the second day of filming that they did this scene, which I think is so fun.
That is fun.
But what's not so fun is that Emma had an asthma attack from jumping and screaming on the bed for so many hours, but she didn't know that she had asthma at the time.
No.
So I guess that's how she found out, or maybe she didn't find out until later and now is like, oh, that was an asthma attack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, scary.
Olive runs into Todd again, who asks her if she wants a beer, but then some boys at the party start making air humping gestures, and she decides to leave the party.
Brandon gives Olive a Target gift card and a vibrator as a thank you. And Rhiannon calls and is mad at Olive that she didn't hear directly from her that she and Brandon slept together at the party. And she tells Olive that everyone's calling her a dirty skank and that Rhiannon agrees with them.
She's a bad friend.
Bad friend. And so Olive calls her a jealous virgin. True.
You're a virgin who can't drive.
And we hear Olive's voiceover again, and she says, "People thought I was a dirty skank? Fine, I'd be the dirtiest skank they'd ever seen." And so she throws all of her clothes out of her closet, buys lingerie, and starts sewing them.
She shows up the next day at school wearing black lingerie as a top with a red A stitched onto it. All the boys are speechless around her, and she's loving the attention. And she has these skinny jeans on and stilettos. And I cannot imagine a high schooler showing up at school in that nowadays.
No. What's wild is when I watched this in high school, I just remember thinking that it was so cool and badass. And I would never, but watching her do it, I was just like, yeah, hell yeah. Now watching it, I'm just like, if a child showed up to high school wearing this, I would be appalled. It's crazy to me that an adult doesn't immediately grab her and say hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know? Wild. Then we see Marianne again, and she's leading a youth group, and she tells them that they all need to pray for Olive to get her out of here. And she has the group promise that they'll be pure and chaste until marriage.
One of the youth group boys, who's Marianne's boyfriend, actually, his name is Micah, and he's played by Cam Gigondet, who was James, the bad vampire, in Twilight.
He was. He was. You're totally right. Wow.
I saw him and I was like, man, he is so familiar. Is that James? And then it was. So,
wow.
Good pull. Pat on the back for me.
Good job.
At swim practice, Todd gets out of the pool and says hi to Olive and says he remembers their almost first kiss that they had back in middle school. Olive remembers this, of course, because she has a crush on him, but she's shocked that he remembered it too.
After Todd leaves, a boy named Evan comes up to Olive and says that Brandon told him what she did for him and is hoping that she can do the same for him. And she's obviously upset that Brandon told anybody that what they did was fake. And so when she denies him, he says that he actually doesn't need her permission because at the rate that she's going, people will believe it if he just says that they slept together. And so she calls him repugnant, and he says that that's the problem because obviously he can't get another girl to hook up with him. That's why he's coming to her. And this makes her feel sorry for him. And so she says that for a $100 gift card, she'll say that he fondled her chest, and he thanks her profusely. And she says, You know, the sad thing is, Evan, if you'd been a gentleman and maybe asked me on a date, I might have said yes.
The rumor that Olive is soliciting sex for money spreads around school fast. For anyone who knows the truth, she's open for business. More boys who haven't had luck with girls beg Olive to let them claim that they've had sex with her to increase her popularity in exchange for gift cards. I like how she is not discerning about what kind of gift card. She's just like, whatever you want.
Yeah, they're so random. Then we pop back to present, and her webcam voiceover says, "Whatever happened to chivalry?" And she wishes that she was in an 80s movie. And then we see a montage of movies like 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Which there are tons of references to 80s movies throughout the whole movie, so it was kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Griffith has a meeting with Olive and says he thinks she's taking her reading assignment too seriously. And he's referring to the red A on her clothes and what she's been wearing. He says he's been hearing rumors about her and is curious what's going on. She says that she deserves extra credit because she's trying to understand the puritanical ostracism from the Scarlet Letter.
Olive leaves right as Mrs. Griffith, the school's guidance counselor, and also Mr. Griffith's wife, obviously, again, this is Lisa Kudrow, comes into the classroom. After Olive leaves, Mr. Griffith asks if his wife will talk to Olive because she's going through a phase, and he knows that all of the rumors are lies.
I like that he knows that they're lies.
Yeah, he's just like, I know her. She's a good kid. She's going through something clearly. Somebody needs to help.
There are only two people in this movie who see through Olive immediately and know that the rumors are false. And we'll get to the other one later.
Yeah.
When Olive meets with Mrs. Griffith, she tries to open up to her, but Mrs. Griffith just gives her condoms and won't listen to her at all. And she says, "Let your freak flag fly. Just make sure you have an exit strategy."
Not a great guidance counselor.
She sucks.
Yeah.
Because, like, even her husband said the rumors aren't true.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't care. It sounded like Olive was actually going to open up to her, and she didn't care.
She was. Yeah.
After Olive leaves, Marianne's boyfriend Micah sees the guidance counselor next, and he's crying. And then Olive and Marianne have a snotty back and forth about Micah being 22 and still in high school, but then Marianne starts crying and says that his parents are getting divorced. And Olive doesn't think this is a big deal, but she still tries to console her by patting Marianne on the head. And then Marianne says, "They go to our church. What will people say?" And hugs Olive, and she's just like inconsolable. And then, because Olive is being nice to her, Marianne thinks that she got through to Olive and asks her to be friends. So this is a twist. It's a fun twist from Marianne.
Olive's voiceover says, "For a day, we were actually really good friends. I was kind of starting to think things were going to turn around." Marianne starts acting like Olive's best friend, and Rhiannon is actually super jealous about this. But then in woodshop class, Marianne tells Olive that Micah is in the hospital and he's in a lot of pain.
We cut to Micah in the hospital, and it turns out he has chlamydia. And his mom starts smacking him, trying to find out who he's been screwing, and he makes up that it was Olive Pendergast. And when Marianne finds out, she smacks Olive in the face.
Wow.
Ooh, short-lived friendship.
Then we see Micah on the phone with someone saying that he panicked, and he said it was Olive, but he needs to tell everyone the truth because he loves the person on the other line who gave him chlamydia. And we find out that it's Mrs. Griffith. She hangs up the phone and is freaking out, and then Olive walks in on her having this meltdown. Mrs. Griffith comes clean that she slept with Micah, and that he told everyone he slept with Olive. Olive offers to help and cover for them to protect her favorite teacher's marriage.
Then we see an anti-Olive protest going on outside school from the Christian youth group kids, and Rhiannon has joined them. So just the stakes are increasing rapidly here. And then Olive runs into Todd, who tells her, "Screw all these people, Olive." She says, "Haven't you heard? I already did."
That was sad to me.
Yeah, it was sad. Because it's like her actually succumbing to it instead of feeling like empowered by it.
Mm-hmm. Olive feels really alone, so she decides to look into what everyone is running around thumping about and goes to a bookstore to get a copy of the Bible. The bookseller says it's in bestsellers, right next to Twilight. And it's funny that they have a Twilight guy in there.
Mm-hmm. Next, Olive goes to a Catholic church confessional to talk to a priest. And she sits in the confessional booth. I don't know exactly what it's called. And she confesses that she thought what she was doing wasn't hurting anyone, but now everyone hates her and she hates herself too. And then she finds out there's no priest listening and she was talking to nobody.
Sad.
Mm-hmm.
She then goes to another church and talks to a pastor, who's played by Fred Armisen, and asks, what's worse, lying or adultery? Then she accidentally knocks over his family picture and sees that he's Marianne's dad. So she runs out of there as fast as she can.
That night, Olive tells her parents that if they hear she has chlamydia, it's not true. This is where her parents actually start getting worried about her, but she says she has everything under control. I kind of wish that her parents stepped in a little bit more, but I also love that it's coming from a place of they just really trust her. So if she is saying no, it's okay, I am okay, and they trust that she would tell them if everything wasn't okay, it's really nice, I think. So
yeah,
I go back and forth.
Agreed. At school, Olive laments that no boy has actually wanted to sleep with her. It's all been fake. But then a boy named Anson asks her out on a date. On their date at Lobster Shack, she sees that Todd works there, and he's singing happy birthday to someone. And then she sees that Rhiannon is at that table with her parents, and she tells Anson that they need to leave because Rhiannon has been in love with him since first grade. As they sneak out, Rhiannon sees them and is hurt.
In the parking lot, Anson whips out a $200 gift card to Home Depot, and Olive's face immediately falls because she thought that this date was actually just because he liked her. And she asks what they did on this date, and he says, whatever $200 gets me. And then he tries to kiss her, and he thinks that she's actually having sex with people for money. And she's like, no, that's not how this works at all. But he just keeps coming on to her and won't take no for an answer. It's really creepy and disturbing scene.
Scary. It's so scary.
They're in this dark parking lot. It's not good.
She does get away from him though, and she starts to walk home crying. But then Todd comes up to her and asks if she's all right, and he offers to drive her home. She cries all the way home about what people are saying about her, and he says he doesn't believe them. So here's our second person who doesn't believe the rumors. He remembers back when he wasn't ready for his first kiss at the party in middle school, and that Olive lied for him and said that they did kiss so that he wouldn't get made fun of. He says sometimes he pretends that she was his first real kiss.
Cute. And then, here's the kicker, she asks who his first real kiss was, and he says it was Rhiannon.
Ugh.
All the way back in middle school. And Olive realizes who Rhiannon is and what their friendship is because she just felt so guilty about going on this date that she thought was a real date with Anson. But really, Rhiannon basically did this to her in middle school and never told her, Not great. Olive goes on this rant to Todd, and in the rant she says, because Rhiannon knows how I feel about you. And he says, how do you feel about me? And she says, felt. I said felt. But he says that he thinks she's cool and pretty and smart, and he felt that way prior to her transformation.
Yay. Then Todd asks if he can kiss her, and she says no, not when she's upset like this. She wants it to be perfect, but she says she has to get her business in order first.
The next day, Olive decides to get Brandon's help because he's the only one who can set the record straight. But when she goes to find him, a girl tells her that Brandon left his parents a note saying, I'm gay, bitches, and ran away from home with a guy.
Wow.
Also,
the girl who tells her this is Lelaine, Miranda from Lizzie McGuire.
Okay, I thought this was her. So I'm glad you confirmed. Yeah. She just looks older. I have only seen her as Miranda.
With the crazy hairdos and stuff. And in this, her hair is just normal.
Yep.
And it's interesting that they gave her a speaking role, and I don't see her anywhere else in the movie. With Anson, he was in the movie a little bit earlier, and so they reused him. And maybe I just missed her, but she wasn't in the movie earlier.
No, I think this is her only line.
Interesting. But it was fun to see her. Then Olive tries to get help from everyone that she helped, since Brandon is not around, including Mrs. Griffith. But no one wants to come clean now. Mrs. Griffith tells Olive no one will believe her. Then Olive runs to Mr. Griffith and says, your wife has chlamydia, and she's sleeping with a student, and she gave it to him, and she's trying to blame me. And then she apologizes and runs out.
Olive tells her mom the truth, And her mom says she understands because she was a slut in high school and had a horrible reputation because of it. Her mom tells her that she'll handle this just fine and comforts her. And this whole scene is just a really nice moment between them. Like we see like actual connection and not just like bantery quips between her and her parents, which I thought was very sweet.
And I like that her parents aren't mad at her or punishing her for this.
No, they're very accepting the whole way through, which I love.
They believe in natural consequences, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Olive's voiceover says that that's why she decided to do this webcast, to tell her side of the story. Then we cut to the school pep rally, where Olive pops out of a wheelbarrow wheeled in by Todd in the woodchuck costume. She wears lingerie and sings and does a little dance number. And at the end, she says, "This was just a free preview," and tells everyone to log on to www.freeolive.com at 6 p.m. tonight.
I completely forgot that there was a musical number in this movie.
I did too. I actually forgot about that whole scene.
And then the principal tries to get Olive to go to his office, but she says that Mrs. Griffith will talk him out of it, and that she has a date with a boy she likes and the rest of the school. And then she and Todd run out of the pep rally together. I will say, Olive says a couple of times in her webcast that the one thing that she regrets the most is breaking up the Griffiths' marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me so sad that she feels that way, because she's not responsible for breaking up their marriage whatsoever.
No, and he needed to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife was evil.
Mm-hmm.
And sleeping with a student.
Mm-hmm.
A 22-year-old student, but still
Not good.
creepy. Then we see everyone, including Brandon, Mr. Griffith, and Marian's dad, the pastor, watching her webcast. At the end of the webcast, Todd shows up on a lawnmower outside her window, playing Don't You Forget About Me on speakers, like in the Breakfast Club. She tells the webcast that she really likes this guy and might even lose her virginity to him, maybe in 5 minutes, or tonight, or 6 months, or their wedding night, but it's nobody's goddamn business. Then she runs away from the camera. I don't know why she doesn't just like end the webcast. It's very dramatic of her to keep it on and run away.
I know. And then we see how everyone else is doing. And Mrs. Griffith tries to talk to Mr. Griffith, but he ignores her. Olive sends an apology text to Rhiannon, and Brandon seems very happy with his new boyfriend.
Olive meets Todd out front, and he spins her around, and then they finally kiss. And they ride away on the lawnmower. And that's the end.
Yay!
Yay.
Such a cute ending. I love her webcast throughout the movie. I think that's such a good, like, mechanism to, like, hear her story, because I love Emma Stone and I love her, like, inflection and hearing her storytelling. So to be able to hear her even more all the way throughout, I thought was great.
I think high school movies love to have a voiceover, but usually the voiceover is kind of like peppered throughout, or maybe it's only at the beginning and the end. And it was really nice that they had a reason for the voiceover being this webcast. And then sometimes it's not a voiceover. Sometimes you see her recording it. It was nice. It was a good way to do that.
Agreed.
So I mentioned that there were supposed to be 2 more movies in the plans, but they never even were written, I don't think. Then Ali Mashaka leaked some rumors about a sequel back in 2021. But we've heard nothing since. And I don't think Emma Stone and Penn Badgley would be in it.
I can't see Emma Stone doing another one of these right now.
Mm-mm.
She's so deep in her, like, drama era. Like, I'm thinking of
Poor Things.
I was about to say Pretty Things. Poor Things. Not my cup of tea. I know a lot of people loved it. Was not for me. I like this Emma Stone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't imagine her doing another one of these.
I could imagine it being set at the same school or being a similar story and then having cameos from the cast.
Yeah.
It would definitely have to have the parents in it again, though.
If I'm honest, I just don't think we need it. And I never say that. I love a sequel. You guys know I love a sequel. I love a second. Not this one.
It's a perfect standalone.
Yep.
I agree with that. Let's leave it perfect. It already is perfect. No notes.
I'm so happy that we covered this movie. This is such a fun one. It's going to go in my rotation, I think. I think I got to watch this one more often because it really holds up. It's so funny.
I agree with that. And thank you guys so much for requesting it.
And don't forget to follow us at What We're Watching Pod on social media. We've been doing some polls lately. We've been getting a lot of great suggestions from you guys. And we're going to be doing some of the movies that you guys requested coming up.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to get an episode that you want.
We read all of your requests. A lot of times we pick episodes based on polls that you guys fill out. And we read all of your messages, and they mean a lot to us. So it's super fun for us to interact with you guys over there.
You all are our pockets full of sunshine.
Wow, she brought it home.
I needed to. I needed to land that plane. Thank you guys so much for listening.
And we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.